where people get a combination of positive feelings and relaxation and distinct static-like tingling sensation. So let's get to it. ASMR Money Mentor creates a budget for you. Hey, welcome. I've got some tea for you. And some tea for me. Cheers. Relax. Relax, relax, relax. So, I'm just going to ask you a few questions. First of all, can you tell me your age? Okay. You know, that's a really good age. My first job I ever had, I was exactly the same age as you, 24 years old. So, can you share with me what is your after-tax income, but before anything you put into your retirement accounts? Do you have a retirement account today? Not yet. Okay. Well, what is your after-tax income per month? Okay. You know, that's not bad for 24-year-olds. So the median salary for somebody your age is probably right around 37,000, somewhere in there. So you're doing great. Now I'm just going to ask you a series of questions about different categories of expenses that you have. Why don't we start with your home expenses? What do you pay for things like rent, cell phone, internet, cable, etc.? Okay. $13.25 and another $100 for cable. Okay. So that's about $14.25 a month. Let's move on to vehicle and transportation expenses. but do you have additional expenses that you budget for throughout the year for clothing? Okay. Maybe $100. Okay. What about health expenses? I know you're relatively young, obviously, but do you have any monthly expenses related to health? No? Okay. Any other expenses you would want to let me know about? Okay. Do you have any debt right now? Okay. No debt. Oh, maybe just a little bit, like $500 a month. Okay. Do you make minimum payments on that right now? Okay. About $25 a month. Okay. Have you been saving towards an emergency fund? I mean, we'll get into things like savings and investing goals a little bit later, but we're pretty much sticking to the budget for today. Do you have anything in your budget for bringing up your emergency fund? No? Okay, well that's not uncommon, so don't feel bad about that. Alright, so I guess that's pretty much it for the expenses, and yet we didn't really talk about what you pay yourself, if anything, for entertainment. Do you have anything in your budget for entertainment right now? I mean, I know this is the first time you've ever really looked at a budget, but you don't have anything for that. Okay. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we take the numbers and see what we come up with? So the 2691 minus the 1425 minus 833 minus 15 minus 350. We'll circle back to that one. Minus 80 minus the 100. Okay, so unfortunately, I'm already to a negative number, negative 112, and that's even before we look at anything that you might be paying yourself for, like, entertainment. Now, I know you're probably spending money on entertainment and things like that. In fact, why don't we go ahead and grab a little bit of your beverage if you'd like. Have you ever talked to anybody before about a budget? Yeah, not too much. Well, just by doing this preliminary exercise really shows me that, as you can tell, we got to a negative number, but that's nothing to be ashamed of at all. I mean, again, you're 24 years old. You've got your whole life ahead of you. Now, one thing I would maybe recommend to you by looking at this is there is nothing wrong with getting a part-time job. Have you thought of that? No. Well, for myself, back when I was your age, I did have a part-time job for probably 8 years. I was 24 years old, just like you. Even right out of college, I couldn't find a job. It was really difficult for me to find a job, and so once I found a regular job, I could barely make ends meet, kind of like with you right now, because again, you're at that negative number. Even before we take anything out of your budget for, having fun and doing entertainment, we haven't even been talking yet about, building up an emergency fund. So what I see is a couple things. Have you ever thought of getting a roommate? Rents right now are really high, so I completely understand that for young people, a lot of times what you're being paid is not really that might help. Number one would be, like I mentioned, maybe getting a roommate to help with your expenses. There's nothing wrong with that. Number two, you can get a part-time job. Part-time jobs can pay $15 an hour, maybe up to $12, $15 an hour. If you just worked a couple evenings a week, that could be $96 a week, maybe $350 a month. I mean, just if we look at the math, if you're at a negative number, 112, that was even before doing anything fun, plus another $350. Let's say that does bring you into a surplus of about $200 a month. That can go a long way for somebody that is as young as you are right now. So I would really, really encourage you to think about those two things for your budget. Because again, I really had to do things like that as well. And I want you to continue to be happy and do things that you want to do. You don't want to continue to be in a negative number at all. You want to be able to enjoy your life. Make sure you pay all of your expenses. And if you continue to do a really good job, is your company secure, by the way? Is it something that you want to continue to do with the real job that you have now? Okay. Yeah, I mean, you might need to jump around a little bit, find another job. There is nothing wrong with that. You might find, in fact, several different career paths for yourself as well. This might not be the final, company that you'll work for. But the most important thing I can leave you with here today is to try to optimize the entire year. Now that you know what your expenses are for the month, track this on a spreadsheet. Multiply by 12. Track every dollar you're spending now and even later when you're making a lot more money. Because once you get to the point where you get into a thriving year, and remember, a thriving year means that suddenly you have money in your budget, and you will, especially like in this scenario where we got you north of being in a negative number, then things will really open up for you, and you will do so much better. And then we'll come back and we'll start talking about your ability at that point to save and invest. So thank you so much,